Someone once told me that my paintings resembled great Picasso's work if Picasso was blindfolded and painted with his legs. You get my point. I was pathetic at drawing and painting. When I was deciding that I wanted to become a UX designer, this idea always worried me that I wasn't like a born creative, born good at sketching or painting. So would I even be able to make it to the field that is all about designing? So if you also have a similar question or wondering about the same, this session is going to change your mind. Hi there, welcome back to our UX Design Foundation course. My name is Mayur Karudia. I am the co-founder and CEO at Dropout Academy and your instructor for the course. In this session, we'll talk about how to generate innovative and creative ideas for your designs, irrespective of whether you are a born creative or not. We'll also talk about some of the hacks and practical tips that you can directly apply to your designs and drastically improve their user experience. No theoretical concepts, but actual tips and tricks to elevate your design skills. So let's get started with the session. So in the previous session, we spoke about design thinking and how to define your problem statement. So after defining your problem statement, you move to the third stage of design thinking, which is ideation. So you have to come up with a lot of different ideas and concepts for your designs. In UX design, the best way to show your concepts or your ideas is by creating wireframes. Wireframes are like conceptual sketches of your ideas. It's like a rough sketch of how your designs are going to look like. But like I mentioned earlier, you really don't have to worry about your sketching skills here. You'll just have to draw the concepts just to get the ideas out of your head. Imagine this, if you had to design your house, how would you explain your ideas to your family? Like where the kitchen would be, or where the living room would be, where would your bedroom be, where would your parents' bedroom be? By drawing like a simple sketch of your house plan, right? That's exactly what wireframes are in UX design. These are rough black and white sketches of how your final designs are going to look like, without getting into the nitty-gritties of colors, icons, images, graphics, etc. Wireframes are created basically to understand the features and functionality of your app, like where the buttons would come, what would happen if you click on one screen, where would you go from one screen to another. So it's basically to test the concept and the functionality of your screen without getting so worried about the look and feel of the product. The benefits of creating wireframes is that because they are so low fidelity, they are so rough, you can come up with a lot of different ideas in a very short span of time. So you can quickly come up with different ideas and test what's working and what's not. And the best part is you do not need any tool, any software to create wireframes. I always tell this to my students. You just need three things to be a UX designer: your brain, a pen, and a paper. That's it. So wireframes can be created just by using pen and paper. That's it. Let's understand this with an example. Let you and me together design the wireframes of a food delivery app. Let's understand this with an example. Let's say you have to design the login screen for a food delivery app. Let's say how we are going to do it. So the first rule before you start ideating is you start collecting some samples. You start collecting some inspirations. How do you collect inspirations? There are different websites to do that. First of all, the best idea is to look at your competitors. Look at people that have created something like what you are doing. So in your case, you look at other food delivery apps. For example, you look at Zomato, you look at Swiggy, you look at Uber Eats. Look at how their login screens are, right? Or look at whatever screen you want to design, look at how they have done it. Another really smart way to look at the real apps, your competitors, is to look at this product called Mobbin. Mobbin.com is a great reference where you can find live screenshots of all the latest apps in the world. So you will not have to install these different apps and take their screenshots. It has all the screens from all the top latest apps in the world. So I would highly suggest that you take inspirations of the live app from that tool. Another reference to take inspiration is you can go to dribble.com, or you can also go to Pinterest, and you can collect all the different types of screens that you think are looking really good, that would be good for your inspiration. And what you do is you copy all of these screens and inspirations together and collect them somewhere. If you already know a tool called Figma, you just paste them together in Figma, or you can just have them somewhere in your phone or your laptop, just collect them together. Now once you have collected the inspiration, then you come to the wireframing part. Okay, so let's get started with the wireframing. So what we do is, first of all, let's say if you want to design the login screen of a mobile app, so then we basically, let's draw a mobile screen or a smartphone screen, and we represent that by drawing a rectangle. And like I said, it's as simple as that. You do not have to be Da Vinci or any art genius to create that. So it's just a small rectangle. Now we have looked at the inspiration and the competitors, right? And based on the research, what we would have realized is that a login screen basically has certain elements. So on the top, we usually have a logo or an illustration. So we draw that. Pardon my bad drawing. I have already mentioned that. And then below that, we will have a text, sort of like login or create your account or something like this, login or something like that. Then, and what you have to understand, what we are creating here is like a very basic sketch, just a functional sketch. Right, nothing fancy, no detailing or anything of that sort. These kinds of wireframes are known as low fidelity designs or low fidelity wireframes, lo-fi wireframes. right? Once you add detailing and make it on software, it is known as high fidelity wireframes. So you have login, then we'll have some sort of an option to add phone number or add email ID and password or something of that sort. Nowadays, phone number is more prevalent. You just log in via phone number, get an OTP, and you do not even need to set a password. So let's give a field here to enter phone number. Then below that we'll have a button which says sign up or login. So like a login CTA or a button, it's mostly usually highlighted and darker. Then other than that, we also should be giving some options to log in via social platforms, right? Like login via Google, login via Twitter, LinkedIn, or all these options. So let's say we also have these kinds of options here. So which is maybe login with Facebook, login with Twitter, login with LinkedIn, right? Maybe have a separator in between, or, and then you have the social login options. Another option what we should also be having is a forgot password, so which can somewhere come here near the login field, which is forgot password. All right, so this is basically like a basic structure of how a wireframe should look like. Now we do understand, right, that there can be multiple variations of these wireframes. You might say that we do not want a rectangular button, we just want a circular button, we want to make this more minimal. Some of you might like to add email ID and password field instead of phone number. Some of you might want to not have these options, social login options as well. Or there could be an option where we have like a complete end-to-end image with just a small button in the bottom to get started, right? And we might also have onboarding screen. So there could be a lot of other options possible, right? And that's the beauty of wireframe, that you can create a lot of multiple variations of wireframes or designs very quickly in a very short span of time. In fact, I'll tell you a great secret now. There's a technique where you can create multiple ideas for your designs in just 1 minute. There's a technique called Crazy 8. This technique helps you to come up with different ideas for your apps in a very short span of time. Okay, so what you do is you take a paper and fold it in four halves, equal halves. One. Okay, so how many pieces you get? How many sections you get? You get 8 sections, right? Now what do? You start drawing. Consider each section as your mobile screen. Now in 1 minute you set a timer and say that in 1 minute you will have to come up with 8 different concepts, 8 different unique concepts, and just get your juice and just let your creative juices flowing. Just come up with different ideas. No idea is good or bad here, because that's the objective here, to come up with out of the box ideas, the most creative ideas. Because have you felt that the most creative ideas come when you are under a pressure situation? And that's how you have multiple ideas so quickly. And once you're done with these, you can just compare the different options that you have created, compare which is looking good, which is not looking good, or you can pick the best features from each of them and combine them together to create a new version which has the best qualities from all of the different options. So alright guys, that's a wrap for this session. And always remember, whenever you start designing, just take good inspirations, take a lot of inspirations, keep things very simple, intuitive, come up with a lot of crazy ideas. See you in the next session. Bye bye.